you're treating your business like a baby, checking on it every 5 minutes, not trusting anyone else with it, and sacrificing yourself to keep it afloat, then unfortunately you don't have a business. You have a codependent toddler who cannot function without you. Welcome back to the Moxie Movement. Your business is not your baby. Yes, it's been a line that I used, but my business is my baby. It's everything. I've poured everything into it. And I'm sure that you might have had those words slip out of your mouth at some time too. And it is something that I hear and see a lot with women running businesses. You pour your heart and soul into it. There's been blood, sweat, and tears go into it. Just like the real life babies. Blood, sweat, tears, and a whole lot of other things go into babies as well. You can see why people draw some between the two. We've also been taught that as women, we have to do all of it. We're responsible for doing the nurturing, the breastfeeding, the getting up during the night, the bathing, the feeding, reading stories. Like, we are literally trained to do everything with our babies. Even if you're married to a significant other or in a relationship with a significant other who is very capable, we don't let them have an opportunity to be a hands-on parent as well. We take those behaviors and we drag them into our business and we set them free. And unfortunately, it does nobody any favors. No favors at all. Just like if you do everything for your kids. We don't have helicopter parents anymore, we have lawnmower parents. We're not just hovering around them making sure everything's okay. These lawnmower parents are like lawn mowing the grass in front of them so it's a smooth, easy, never gonna fall over ride. And I think those parenting ways of being that don't have boundaries, that say yes, that have gone to the absolute extreme, not just allowing children to have emotions and feel them, but allowing that to be an excuse for any sort of poor behavior. All feelings and all emotions are welcome, all behaviors are not. And I think those ways of thinking about parenting and raising children have ended up sliding into our businesses and causing us all sorts of problems. We unconsciously parent our team. We start to think that it becomes our responsibility to make their experience at work as easy as possible, always making sure that everything goes smoothly for them. If something's too hard or too difficult for them, we step in and pick up the pieces and finish it. If they make a mistake, we fix it. And by doing that, we are disempowering them. We are saying we don't trust them. We are saying that we don't think they can do a good enough job. And it's the same thing that we can end up doing with our children, which we don't want to do. I don't want to have a daughter that always comes and asks me the answer for every question. I want to encourage her to do things and learn how to do things. Just like when it came to exercise, I didn't tell her she had to do CrossFit. I just said, Mum has to do CrossFit because that's my choice and I'm going to go and do it. And so on the days when Johnny would be away or working, she'd come along to CrossFit. Now she does CrossFit. This morning she pushed 80 kilos on a freaking sled. It's quite impressive for a 13-year-old that weighs about 50 kilos. When we empower them and we tell them they can do it and we challenge them to be better all the time, they lift up and be better. Unconsciously parenting our team in that way where we're trying to smooth things out and make it better for them, it's not serving them. It's not serving your business. And so we want to stop parenting our teams, our employees, our contractors, and we want to lead them instead. And it's the two really different things. We've lost a little bit of that insight that parenting is a leadership journey as well. Some of these learnings are things that we can take into our parenting journey that will help us out. We see this micromanagement where we're constantly making sure that it's done exactly the way I would do it when I've done it, but not in a systemized way, in a nitpicky, constantly telling people what to do or pulling them up when it's not quite right way, which makes us need to overfunction as the business owner. It means we have to do so much more work than if we just allowed people to step in and trust them to do the work. And then we hover over them, making sure that they're doing the jobs we hired them to do correctly instead of letting them be and letting them get on and letting them find their feet, make the mistakes, own the mistakes, correct the mistakes, because we do the same things at home. We micromanage instead of teaching our kids how to do things from start to finish without us. We constantly give direction, so they require us to have direction all the way through. We overfunction, so we cook, we clean, we do the laundry, we make sure everyone's got lunch boxes, school bags, and out the door every day, instead of letting them function and do that themselves. As you know, I say if your kid can use a device, your kid can use a dishwasher and a washing machine and a vacuum cleaner. So I have some pretty strong opinions about how much kids should be doing around the house, and it's a lot more than most people require their kids to do. Your primary role as a parent is to raise a functioning human being so they can go out into the world and become a vibrant expression of themselves. And if they can't cook and clean and look after themselves, they can't do that. Trust me, I've employed lots of people that have got to the other side of the world, couldn't do those things for themselves because their parents failed them. And that's really sad. We don't want to micromanage our people. We don't want to have to put ourselves into that role of overfunctioning like we've been doing at home, and we don't want to hover. We want to let them do their thing. Sometimes it's going to mean, at home especially, that you're going to have to lower your standards a little bit. And if you let people step up and grow, they absolutely will. We don't want to take our bad habits from home and use them in our business. Instead, we want to grow and develop in our business and maybe take some of those learnings home and help us to be better parents. Doing all of these behaviors, doing this parenting, hovering, micromanaging, overfunctioning yourself so that they don't have to do anything for you, it really keeps you stuck in the weeds. It really keeps you stuck in the doing. You're going to end up hiring people and then doing their jobs for them. And there is no faster way to feel bitter and resentful about paying a wage than to not let someone do their job and then moan that they're not doing it. And so you end up super burnt out because you've got to earn more money than you did before because now you're paying someone and you're still doing all the work. It's a really terrible position to put yourself in. And I guess the good news here is that the person that can fix it is you. If you've got yourself into this parenting role in your business, and look, I have 100% been there because I've still got crew who are the same age as me, I might add, that used to work for us that call me Kiwi Mum or Mum Sarah because I parented in those early days in business. They did not need my parenting. And so I've now figured it out. It's taken me a little while. That's not a useful thing to be doing. Can I support and coach and help them to become better? Yeah, absolutely. That does not require me to step into their mother's shoes, though, in order to do that. Your business doesn't need mothering. It really doesn't. It needs leading. Those are two really different things. Two different roles. You kind of have to shift hats, shift gears when you get into your business. You're not here to make sure that people do the basics. You're not here to wipe their noses and make sure there's toilet paper in the toilet, right? Like they're grown adults. They can do those things for themselves. And you're definitely not here to pick up the slack when they don't. And we see this a lot where as women, we jump in. Someone has a sick day, we fill their role. Someone goes on holiday, we fill that role. We fill ourselves in the roster. I had a client not that long ago. She had a restaurant. It took her ages to get her team to understand that she wasn't the backstop for their roster. That you couldn't just go to a music festival this weekend or take an extra day off because it's all right, the boss will fill the gap. No, if you don't show up, your team has to figure it out without you and you're letting your team down. And that's a perfect example of where mothering has got in the way of leading, where we're stepping in and plugging the hole with our body. And actually, if someone is calling in sick, taking bonus days off when they probably don't need to, and you are covering for them, you got to stop so that the team can start to see who's letting them down, and they will start to ask the other team member to step. Because you're here to build something that's sustainable, something that's profitable for you, and that allows you to be present with your family. If you're busy doing everybody else's jobs when you're at work, you don't have any time for your work. So then what happens is you go home, you're not very present with the family and the kids because you're worried about all the things you haven't done. And then when the kids go to bed, you start working again. Or you stay late at work and then rush to pick the kids up. It means that you're not being present at home, and you're probably not being very profitable because you're not working on the right things, because you need to be doing those high-level $1,000 an hour minimum jobs in your business instead of the $30 or $40 an hour jobs. These businesses need to be able to run without you hovering over every little detail, because otherwise they're always going to be constrained by your capacity. And while you are awesome and you are probably a beautiful overachiever like many of the women that I work with, you still aren't Superwoman, and your business cannot grow to a profitable size if you are doing everything. Can you run a really great self-employment gig? Yes, but that's not a business, because it requires you to be working all the time in order to create an income. If you don't want to be self-employed, if you want a business that's leveraged with team and tech, you cannot be the one pulling all the strings all the time. Control freak tendencies are not about standards. They're about fear. Your fear that things won't get done exactly right, that people will slip on the standards and then all your customers will leave you. The fear that letting go of your business means losing control, when the truth of the matter is you never had control over it anyway. If we come back to the fundamental basics is, well, the only things we have control over are our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions, then your business, because it's a collective of human beings as a general rule, customers, suppliers, team members, contractors, you only have influence. Yes, a greater deal of influence because it's your business. You still only have influence. So letting it go isn't losing control, because you're still in control of the things you've been in control of all along. And the less you're doing, the less you're getting in and sticking your fingers in things, the more you can lead and see things from the bigger picture and have a greater degree of influence. And then finally, it's that fear that your team, your employees, your contractors, they'll fail, they'll let you down, and you'll look bad, because ultimately your business is a reflection of you. It 100% is a reflection of you and how well you can lead. Take the lesson, take the learning, fix it, and move forward. Failure is stopping. Failure is giving up. Your team don't fail. They make mistakes. They're human beings. They are 100% going to make mistakes. I make mistakes on the daily. And so do my team. The difference is we own them, we fix them, and we move forward. If we know about them, we're fixing them. And that's what you need your team to have as well. We want to allow them to fail, and fail quickly, and fail openly and transparently, so we know about it, so we can fix the system or process that didn't help. Or, if they just were human and they forgot or missed something or got it wrong, we fix it. We say sorry and we own it. Here's the hardest thing about this is, if your team can't work without you being in there all the time, you don't even have a team. You have a whole group of adult dependents. And we don't want 30-year-olds that live in our basement. It's not a cool way to live out your sunset years. And so we don't want to do that with our employees any more than we want to do it with our kids. You have to give trust to your team so they can learn to trust themselves. No employee or contractor is ever going to trust themselves to do a good job if they can see that you don't trust them. And if you're constantly checking, constantly asking, they know they don't have your trust, because you are constantly checking on them, making sure they did it right. You've got to step back and give them real leadership. And that looks like setting clear expectations, quality systems, and allowing them the time and space to do their job, giving them praise and appreciation when they do a great job, and just nudging them gently when they miss the mark ever so slightly, which they will, because they're human. You've got to allow space for mistakes to happen. High-performing teams report a much higher number of errors than any other team. And that's not because they make more. It's just because they're more honest about them, and they're more likely to report and be transparent about them. And that's what you want. You do not want people hiding mistakes under the carpet like yesterday's fish, and then you find it when it's a really stinky fish. If people tell you about problems right away, you can fix them super fast, super easy. This leadership thing looks like stepping back, but not disappearing. I know people always have this concern about, if my team don't see me showing up and doing the work, they'll think that I'm slacking off, that I'm on holiday, that I don't care as much as my team do about the business. And I think there's a balance between creating space and disappearing. I think staying connected with your team, checking in. We have expectations at the Moxie Movement that people will have 15-minute meetings every week with their team. Why? Because it helps you stay connected. What's working for them, what's not working for them, how can we move forward? It also means that you're going to have to hold some boundaries, time, about space, and it's going to be you learning to be okay with good enough. We have a saying, 80% done by not Sarah is better than 100% done by Sarah. Why? Because I don't have to do it. I got 100% of my time back. I got the job 80% done, and it wasn't me. 80% done by not Sarah is always a great outcome, because as your team grows and develops, they're going to have to go through just being 10% good at a job, and then 20% good, and then 50, and then 70 and 80, because you've got to train and develop them in alignment with the way that you want work done in your business. They're not going to come in like a magical unicorn and do it exactly your way. Thinking that they will come in and do it exactly the way you've done it assumes that they have had the same life experience that you've had, the same education, the same upbringing. You and I both know that's not the case. I've got 3 sisters. We all grew up in the same household, and yet we all experienced life completely differently. When I say we grew up in the same household, Mum and Dad had 4 girls under 4.5, so there wasn't that big age gaps between us being in that household. We all experienced it really differently. And so you're not going to get an employee or a contractor that's going to do it like you straight off the bat. Our job as leaders is to help them, onboard them, induct them to work the way that you want them to work inside your business, in alignment with what you're trying to build in your business. Letting go seems really scary because you think it's going to fall apart. Let's talk about how we can let go without letting it all fall apart. The first thing is to figure out, what do you actually really need to do, and what could someone else do? This is something that we do a lot. You will have heard me talk about the post-it note strategy, where I'm like, write everything you're doing, that's a thing that someone else could do, write it down the post-it note, so that you're like, that's a list of tasks that I've done this week or this month that someone else could do. We do this when we talk about getting virtual roles and play, because people get quite stressed about having someone virtually working for them rather than in person. And I'm like, it's cool. We're not going to give them the in-person kind of tasks. But every time you do a task that could be done by somebody anywhere in the world, I want you to write it down so we can get clear on what work has to be done here physically and what work could be done anywhere in the world. And you'd be surprised by how much doesn't need to be done by someone sitting physically in your space. You need to figure out, what are the actual things only you can do. There's an element of my coaching business that is me. It's always going to be me. Can I bring in other coaches and people to support my people? Absolutely. And I'm still going to need to show up and do that. Lucky, I love it. And that's probably never going to change. There's an awful lot of stuff in my business that I don't need to do, that someone else could do. I remember in the boat, we used to think that we had to be on the boat to run it. And now here we are living in another country while the boat runs just fine. You've got to figure out what you actually have to do. And I always say to employees and contractors, no one's indispensable in this business, not even me. If something happened, which meant I couldn't work for some reason for a long period of time, we'd figure out a way to replace me. And you have to know that about yourself and your business, because when you make yourself indispensable, you're making your business your baby again, because it's so reliant on you, and you don't want that codependency. Figure out what you actually have to do. And we think about it in terms of critical success factors. You might be responsible for leading the team. You might be responsible for holding the systems and processes and making sure that gets done. You might be responsible for sales, let's say, in your business. Even in those roles, those things can be systemized and they can be delegated. The second step here is, and this is going to be a hard one for some of you, because you're very Mrs. Doubtfire, I'm on my way, dearie, to fix everything. You got to stop saving your team. You can't rescue them every time they get it wrong and they make a mistake. You're going to have to let them do it for themselves. It's not support. You're absolutely sabotaging them, because you're not giving them an opportunity to learn from that. Scarlett has been doing a little bit of babysitting, and she hasn't had a phone. We have recently got her a phone because we've realized that she wants to do this babysitting, and so we need a way to get in contact with her. The other parents need a way to get in contact with her. It also means that when she's out riding her bike on the island, we can track her down and find her. She's been super disciplined with it so far, which is great. I said to her, because she'd come back a couple of times from one particular gig having had some challenges where the kids weren't listening, and she felt nervous about leaving the kids in a room where she couldn't see what they were doing because she was worried they would do something that they'd been explicitly told not to do. And I said, that's great, darling. Well, that's a boundary for you. You need to have that conversation with the parent so that rules and expectations that the parent have are shared both with the kids and with you before babysitting happens. There's no confusion. There's none of this mum says it's okay when you know full well that mum said it wasn't okay just before she left. It's going to be clear and transparent with everyone. But I'm not doing that for you. You have to message the parent and say that that's what you expect. Now, could I have done it for her? She's 13 years old. That's a big ask to set that boundary and expectation with another adult. And I think if I was jumping in and saving her from that, she wouldn't be learning to communicate clearly what she wants and needs when she has a job. Part of my job as her parent, and it's the same in my business. If someone is struggling in my business to communicate, it's not my job to go in and do the communication for them. It's my job to give them the skills and tools so they can communicate with the other person what they want and need from them in that moment. I'm not saving them if I do it for them. I'm just meaning that they're going to have that same problem in different versions over and over again because the lesson keeps coming until you learn it. And that is true not just for you, but for your team as well. And was this uncomfortable for Scarlett? Hell yes. It's really uncomfortable for a 13-year-old girl to go, well, this is what I expect from you and this is what I'm going to need from you before I come and babysit your kids. Because, she wants the babysitting money so she can go scuba diving on the weekends. So I totally get, she's like, oh no, it'll be okay. And I'm like, we're not having this, it'll be okay sacrifice and energy around here. Now, did she find sending those messages deeply uncomfortable? Yes, and I'm okay with that. She has to be okay with sitting in some discomfort to grow. She's only 13. Girl's got a lot of growing to do before she gets to my age at 44. I'm okay with that. It's the same with me. When I need to grow, when I need to get better at something, I'm going to have to sit in the discomfort of not being super great at it yet and get better at it over time. The reason you're sitting where you are right now is because you got comfortable in the discomfort that you needed to do to grow to the person you are to have the business you have today. Let them have that opportunity. There's so many synergies between parenting and business. Isn't it ridiculous? The last thing that makes this really, really easy is build the trust through the structure. You need to have solid, clear structure for your business because it allows you to be creative and build exciting things inside it if you have the structure to hold it. We do that through some really key tools. We have a one-page Moxie plan. We have a success map with all our systems and processes, and we had a rockstar team set of tools that allow us to communicate clearly and concisely and coach and lead our teams. With those frameworks, we have all the structures that we need so that we can trust our team to make decisions in alignment with that. Now we don't have to ask them to think like us. They've got a set of decision filters, a process to follow, and then a way to communicate with each other that everybody is using over and over and over again. That creates so much clarity. It creates space for them to be great at what they do. Making sure you've got this rhythm of weekly check-ins, completion tracking, accountability measures, not everything, obviously, but on the key things, KPI tracking, making sure that people are actually fulfilling the role you employed them to do. These clear success measures and clear communication beats just come to me if you're stuck every time. That whole open door policy, come ask me a question anytime, it's not helping them. It's hindering them, and it's definitely not helping you. First one is go figure out what could be somebody else. You've got to figure out what tasks you can give away and what ones you want to keep. The low-hanging fruit is super easy. P.S. If you're a woman and you are still cleaning your own home and you run a business, that is the first one you're letting go of. This week, you're going to choose just one thing to let go of. Get it out of your head, give it to someone else, delegate it. No swooping in, no fixing it. Just let it go and tweak and coach and support people to fulfill it. And then something that's super helpful is to consistently book a review of your role. Because when we start out, we do everything. Because we're just getting started, we're a small business, we wear all the hats, we do all the things. Over time, you want to come back to your role that you're doing and go, okay, well, what bits am I taking off and creating a new role and employing someone to do? So book a review of your role. Write down all the roles, all the hats that you're wearing inside your business, and review it and go, what is on here that by next school holidays I don't want to be doing anymore? So that I've got more brain space, more presence to hang out with the family that I love. That I've got a great team that's got my back, that's picking up that part of my role. Because if you do those regular reviews of your role in your business, you'll find slowly over time, you're going to have more and more capacity to work on your business, on those $1,000 an hour jobs, not the $40 an hour jobs. And you will see your business really take off. The profitability and the presence you'll get from doing these things is next level. You're not your business's mother. You're its leader. Stop hovering, stop hand-holding, and start building a team that can steer the ship without you constantly stealing the wheel back. Start stepping into that leadership role in your business. Because when you do that, magic starts to happen. Because everybody else starts to step up, so that you've got a little bit more time to step out and be the parent and the partner, you know what, and just the person that you are without worrying about all this business stuff. Till next time, stay Moxie.